You're planning a trip to a theme park. Don't make these big mistakes when you're planning out a big trip, like I've seen these people do. We love big vacations, especially to places like Disney or Universal or big road trips to parks. So, if you're going to get ready to start doing one of those kinds of trips, here's some advice that I can give you so that you don't make some of the big mistakes that I have seen other people make. There are several steps to take, steps that are going to save you a whole lot of grief and misery and, quite frankly, embarrassment. When you're starting off, you basically have two things that you have to kind of debate between: your destination or your budget. They go hand in hand. And the truth is, your budget really kind of dictates destination, unless you're really set where you don't have to worry about budget. But you've got to look at what you can afford. One of the big complaints about Disney right now is, we can't afford it. Well, of course, the parks are overcrowded anyways, so Disney doesn't care. But if you really want to do Disney, you're going to have to see if you can afford it first. Or if you're looking someplace else, maybe you're starting off with your budget first. Here's how much we have. Here's what we can afford. Where can we go with that? Either approach is fine. Start destination, start budget, but they really have to go hand in hand. And when you're looking at it, you've got to remember to take in several factors that I see people miss. You've got to remember how much it's going to cost you to get there. It's amazing how many people I see plan a Disney vacation and they forget to add in airfare or fuel, food, and hotels while they drive there. They forget to cover the costs of getting there. That's a major expense. Don't forget your travel expenses on your way. You also have to remember, if it's going to be a multi-day trip, which is what most of these are, how much is your lodging going to cost you? What kind of hotel? Are you going to go flea bag cheap budget? Are you going to go the super expensive Animal Kingdom Lodge or Grand Floridian? Or are you going to try and shoot for something in between? Most of us, it's in between. I don't want the super cheap, but I don't go a whole lot above that. So budget, again, dictates how much you're going to be looking for lodging. Don't forget to look for other alternatives besides on-property lodging, especially if you've got a few of you. Don't forget to look for, say, rental homes, vacation rentals, condos, timeshares will sometimes rent out. You can get more people into one of those for the same amount as a regular hotel, which means you pay less per person. We stayed down in Florida at a timeshare for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, 14 nights, and we paid $1,100. 4 bedrooms, included resort amenities. You try staying at Disney for that kind of price. You can't do it. That was a few years ago. Prices have gone up. But at the same time, don't forget different little extras like that. Don't forget to budget in your food while you're there. Don't forget to budget in souvenirs. How much are you going to spend on your t-shirts and your hats and your mugs and your pins and whatever other collectibles you've got? Don't forget to add all that in. Budget out each category and then stick to it. One of the things I saw at Disney a few times was people that had spent all of their money before they had finished their vacation, and their last day they didn't have money for food. It happens. Thankfully it's rare, but yes, it does happen. Don't be that person. After you get your budget situated and your location, then it's time to start doing the actual planning. Hopefully, when you were figuring out where you're going to go, you were doing some research. Before you start spending that money, do research. I watched more people end up at Disney miserable because they hadn't researched where they were going. I watched people at Silver Dollar City miserable because they hadn't researched where they were going, especially Christmas. Everybody has this idea in their head, you know what, let's go to Disney at Christmas time because nobody goes to the parks during the holidays, they're all at home with their families. The parks will be empty. Let's go. Well, the only problem is you and literally a million other people thought the same thing. And only half of that million ended up down there. But yeah, Christmas is the busiest time of the year. And I watched people every year, every day, multiple times. People would come up. This is terrible. I'm having a miserable time because there's so many people, because it's so packed. The parks are closing early in the day because they're hitting capacity. The lines are long for everything, including 30 to 45 minutes to get into the bathroom. And people aren't happy because they can convince themselves that nobody else would be there. Research the crowd expectations and be prepared for that. Research what there is to do and where it is. Don't be those people walking up to me at Disney and going, "Where are the kiddie rides? Where's the big thrill roller coasters, the ones that go 300 feet high?" You're at Disney. Not going to be there. And every year, we'd have that constantly. Don't be those people. Don't be the ones that have no idea what rides are there or what attractions. Walk into the park. What is there to do? Don't be like my in-laws. The very first time that my wife went to Disney when she was a kid, they took her to Disneyland. They had never been there. They didn't look around. They didn't know what they were doing. The only ride they saw was the Sky Ride that was there at the time. They walked around Fantasyland. They did see the merry-go-round. And they were like, "Look at all these stores. There's no rides here." They didn't see the rides that were right in front of them because they weren't knowing what to look for. They thought it was all stores and shops and completely missed everything that was there. It was amazing when I took her and my kids to Disneyland for the first time in 2001, and I'm showing my wife and she's going, "Was this all here 10 years ago?" Yep, it sure was. So make sure you research so you know what is there and what isn't there. If you're a show person, make sure you know that there's shows. Don't go to Six Flags expecting a whole lot of shows. Their Six Flags parks generally forget the entertainment anymore. If you like shopping, make sure there's actual shops besides the standard generic souvenir shops. A place like Disney or Silver Dollar City is fantastic for shopping. But at the same time, they've got a lot more to do too. So look around and see what there is to be offering. Don't be the people that walk up and, is there a parade? Are there rides? Don't be like this poor guy I saw at Epcot. So I'm working in what we call The View, the place where we sell the pictures. It's a merchandise store that's literally right underneath Spaceship Earth, the big giant golf ball. And we're watching people beginning of the day come in. And we watch this one guy walk past us. And, you get used to watching people, so you kind of know what to look for. And we see this guy walk by, and we're like, he's lost. We'll see what happens. And he's gone before we can catch up to him. Well, lo and behold, about 15 minutes later, here he comes again, walking past us the same direction as before. The only way he could end up the same direction as before was if he'd gone back towards the entrance. Which means he walked all the way around. And we kind of watch him. You see him? Same guy? Yeah. Okay. And then, lo and behold, 30 minutes later, here he comes again. At this point, one of us stepped out and, "Can we help you, sir? We notice you look a little lost." He looks and goes, "Yeah, where's the rest of the park? Is it just this?" So when you get up and you see that fountain up there, go right, go left, go forward, go somewhere other than just around in a circle. Yeah. We saw people do really weird, really dumb things. So you want to know where to go. You want to know what to do. Don't be like the people that come to Silver Dollar City. Why are there so many hills? Why don't they level the park? You're in the Ozarks there, folks. We have these things called mountains. Okay, yeah, they're foothills, but You can't just take a hill and make it flat. It don't work, especially when there's a cave under it. When did they move the cave? I couldn't believe the first time somebody asked me that. It was like, what? When did they move? How do you, are you serious? Yeah, it used to be up at this other part of the park and now it's over there. No, you can't move a cave. It doesn't work that way. Just weird stuff. Partially because they weren't thinking, partially because they hadn't researched. One of the big things I encourage you to do, use the app. Every park out there now has an app. Look at the app, see what is there, and do your planning with it. Speaking of planning, here's another big thing. Many parks, if they've got fancy restaurants, this is an absolute must at Disney. Universal has some places like this too. Plan your reservations. If you want to eat at a nicer restaurant, you have to have a reservation in advance. Look up what the scheduling deadlines are. Disney changes them. Sometimes it's 6 months ahead of time. Sometimes it's 90 days. I think that's what it is currently. Sometimes it's down to 30. But if you don't book at those nicer restaurants ahead of time when the reservations are open, you're not getting in. Used to be you could just walk up and eat any place, but it doesn't do that anymore. I can remember as a kid going to Disneyland and going to the Golden Horseshoe. And during that point, you didn't do reservations in advance per se, but when you got in the park, you did have to go over and get your name on the list, because if you didn't get your name on the list early in the day, you weren't going to be able to get in later. So I remember us coming in the park and my dad making us mad dash Frontierland over to the Golden Horseshoe and getting on that list so we could get in and see the show. My dad did his research. We ran from ride to ride, which you can't do anymore. We also kind of cheated that we would send one person ahead. We get off a ride, one person would go ahead to the next ride, save a place in line, and then everybody else would join them. That's a no-no. Don't do that. Don't do that. We didn't know any better at the time. It wasn't as big a deal because it wasn't that far in the line, but still, yeah, we were cutters. Be respectful of the other people around you. They're as clueless as you are, maybe more so. Be helpful, be nice, be gentle. But yeah, don't forget the reservations, not just for the dining, especially if you're at Disney or if you go to like Universal or Six Flags and you want to spend the extra money on their Skip the Line pass, you may need reservations for that as well. Don't be afraid to look that up ahead of time. And one other thing too is remember that all the Skip the Line passes are optional. Just because somebody else spends the money on it doesn't mean you have to. Remember your budget. Especially Disney. There's a big argument. If you see somebody that spent a few $100s more than you so they can move ahead of you in the line and it makes you wait an extra 30 seconds to a minute, it's only 30 seconds to a minute. It's okay. I've done both sides of it, and there's times when I've got the money or somebody blesses me that it's awesome. But at the same time, if I don't have it, I'm okay with it. But look up what their plan is and how it affects the lines and so forth so that you know what to better prepare for. If you are at Disney, you are going to seriously want to look at Genie Plus. Trying to spend a day at Disney anymore without Genie Plus, you're just stuck in long standby lines all day because the regular level of Genie Plus kills the standby lines. Unfortunately, Genie Plus at Disney is almost a must. You've got to budget for it. But that doesn't mean you have to go to the super high level of it. Do the one that's just a few dollars a day that lets you book and skip the lines on some rides, because without it anymore, yeah, your day is done. But research, use those apps, use the information that's out there. Watch the vlogs. People show you what to do and how to do it and what's good and what's not. And that way you end up at the park in budget, where you want to go, doing what you want to do and having a good day. Did I give you some good advice here? I hope so. Let me know. Do you have other advice? Share it in the comments below. Love to hear from you. Love your feedback. Thank you so incredibly much to my patrons and my supporters, those who help make this channel possible. Thank you to Megan. She's not able to be here this time, but she'll be back. Don't worry. Thank you very much for watching. God bless. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions, your ideas. Be sure to share them in the comments below, or you can contact me. There's information in the description that has my email address, fan pages, information about merchandise, and so much more. So be sure to check that out. Don't forget to hit that like button, share the video, and if you haven't already, hit the button right up there to subscribe. And in fact, if you did enjoy this, I've even got another video for you right here. And also about these wonderful people here, those are my YouTube members and my patrons, the ones whose financial support makes this possible. I couldn't do it without them. If you want to know more about that and the perks that come with it, well, be sure to check the description. There's a link right down there. Thank you so incredibly much. God bless.